Do y'all know who Johann Sebastian Bach was? The master musician? Yes. He had 256 cantatas in his name. Now, I personally dig the one that says, Jesus, joy of man's desire. It's epic. Do you recognize it? 400-something years ago, after its original writing, it's still one of the most popular soundtracks today at the bridal entrance of a wedding. Did y'all know that? Bach's music is about more than melodies and harmonies, though. His motivation behind the music is what makes it so beautiful. It's outstanding. It's unique. The reason? They touch the soul, and it's because it's from the soul. You see, Bach's cantatas didn't originate with music. They were actually part of his prayers. That's where he came from, his prayer life. Before Bach started scoring a sheet of music, he would write a little JJ at the corner of the sheet. And that means Jesus Juva. It's a simple prayer. Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. But then when he finished a composition, Bach wrote 3 letters in the margin of his music, and they were SDG. And these 3 letters stood for the Italian phrase, Soli Deo, gloria. To the glory of God alone. His life was a unique translation of those words. To give only God the glory for whatever he did. Isn't that amazing? No one can glorify God like you for you, because your life is original score. Do you agree with that? You got to understand that. Can you imagine what kind of a impact your life might have if our scripts and our business decisions and our originated as prayers? Wouldn't that be amazing? Imagine students scribbling SDG on their essays. To God the glory, and only God. And doctors scrawling SDG on their prescriptions, to the glory of God only. Wouldn't that be amazing? Can we only think of how much that would really change the world rather than what we're really doing these days? You know, it's not about what you do. It's about why you do it. And ultimately, it's for who do you do it. You see, in God's kingdom, motivation's the key. If you do the right thing for the wrong reason, guess what? It's wrong. God judges the motives of the heart. I mean, this is where it has to come from. And he only rewards those that do the right things for the right reasons. You know, to be perfectly honest, I think I forfeit a fat chunk of my rewards because I do things for myself. Well, many times. Not all. But STG is living for the one person in the audience who matters the most. It's doing the right things for the right reason. You only need one person's approval, and that's the applause of the person that has the nail-scarred hands. That's just Jesus. Jesus, nothing less, nothing else but Jesus. I would go on about Johann Sebastian Bach and some of the other writers, but I'm going to skip some of that. And I think I want you to, if you had pencil and paper, I'd say write this down. If you were in my classroom, I'd say write this down. It's going to be on the test. You better get it right. Okay? Man's chief end is to glorify God and to forever enjoy Him. Isn't that amazing just to think of that? Man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. Wow. I don't think it can be said any simpler than just that. We exist for one reason alone, to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. Think about it. Nothing else compares. The end game says that's what we're supposed to be doing. It's not about you at all. You know, sometimes we think it's all about me. I got to do the right thing. That's not it. It's about Him. But you do get to enjoy Him, don't we? Soli Deo gloria, to the glory of God, makes life make sense. It's not about success or failure. No. It's not about the good days and the bad days. It's not about the wealth or the poverty. It's not about the health or the sickness. It's not even about the reality of life and death. It's about glorifying God in whatever we do. Whatever circumstance we find ourselves in. Whenever. Wherever. Whatever. There's no circumstances where you can't find a way to glorify God. Whenever, wherever, whatever. You know, that's why living the SDG is so sweet. Because if we really take it to heart, it becomes a way of life to the glory of God alone. To the glory of God alone. You know, having raised 2 teenagers, though, the word whatever, have you ever heard that? Whatever from your kids? Didn't it just drive you crazy? Whatever, Dad. Jeez. Well, that was so dismissive, wasn't it? Whatever. Drove me crazy. But you know, I think it has some redeeming value, though. You know, it's one of my one-word prayers to God now. Whatever, God. Whatever can be a statement of surrender. I'm going to surrender to you, God. Whatever. Whatever you say, wherever you want me to go, whenever you want me to do it, whatever you want me to do. Do you remember Gethsemane? The garden where Jesus literally wrestled with the will of God? When He said, take this cup from me. And He's talking about the cup of wrath. Jesus knew He had to take the whole cup, not just part of it, but the whole cup. And He asked the Father if He'd take it away. If there's any other way. Isn't there any other way, God? Father, is there any other way? Please. But then He probably said it in a framework of prayer. Not my will, but yours, Father. That was Jesus' all-in moment. You know, He was 100% human, and we all have those all-in moments that we have in our life, and we have to meet the challenge. I hope you meet the challenge. This was His whatever prayer. You know, there are 2 great whatever verses in Scripture. Both start with the same all-inclusive prayer, whatever you do. Number 1, Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. You know, if we would take that one to heart, don't you think we'd all be a little more successful? If we could take everything we do and take it to the glory of God. Wow. The second one, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Wow. That would change lives, wouldn't it? Wow. With all your heart. You know what that means? With more energy than you have. You know, we always talk about giving it 100%. Well, this verse basically says you got to give more. You got to give deep. You got to get deep in there, and you got to give all you have plus. And give it to the glory of God. You know, the issue isn't what you're doing. The real reason is why you do it, how you do it, and who you do it for. Think about that. Why you do it, how you do it, and who you do it for. You know, no one in the history of the world has lost more in less time than Job did. He lost everything. He lost his family. He lost his health. He lost his wealth. Gone in moments, almost like the snap of a finger. I can't even snap my finger anymore, you know. I tell you, it's hard enough just to read the book of Job. In fact, I don't like to read the book of Job. In fact, I think I've only read it once, and I said that was enough. It's kind of like Revelations. Everybody likes to study Revelations. I don't necessarily like to study Revelations. I've read it once, and I know what it says. We win. We win. That's all I have to know right there. We win. And I take that to heart. But Job, can you imagine living through that? He endured unbelievable heartache, unimaginable loss. But when his world fell apart, Job fell to the ground and worshiped. And the Bible records this, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord takes away. May the name of the Lord be praised. Wow. Now that's amazing. But you know what? Some of us are having that very same thing happen right now. We've had something come upon us that we never thought imaginable. I mean, out here in West Texas, we got hit twice. We had the oil price go plummeting. And then we had this silly pandemic hit us. And some people are like Job today. And I hope they have the strength to just fall down and pray like he did. I'm going to tell you a short story about Jason and Shelley. They chose to adopt. And after going through a lengthy legal process that you know comes with adoption, they adopted a little girl and they named her Mariah. And I always thought that name was so pretty. And I first heard when the Clint Eastwood song, you know, Mariah. But a few days after taking her to the home, she was taken from their hands by the mother. She had second thoughts. And it was in the time frame that she could make that and take her child back. And it was awful for Jason and Shelley. You know, a few days later, I saw Jason leading worship. He was a worship leader. And the first song that he led that night was Blessed Be Your Name. And the lyrics are inspired by Job, the story of Job. Did you know that? That's where that came from. And the chorus restates this very verse. You give and take away. You give and take away. And when Jesus started singing that chorus, I all but lost it. Because I knew how hard it was for him to lead that song, that particular song. But I also knew how much it meant to him. You know, I have some Bible verses I fall back on. I fall back on them because I know they're true. And this is one of those verses. Now, I don't want to minimize any of your losses, because I know some of you have lost big time during your lives. But I want to remind you that nothing that you possess wasn't given to you by anybody but God. It's his nature to give and to give and to give some more. But we're subject to the world, and the devil roams among us, and he can take away. But I'm going to tell you this. There's one thing he can never take away from you. From you. And that is Jesus Christ. If you have Jesus, then you have everything you'll need for eternity. I mean, from now on. It's a very simple equation. Everything minus Jesus, guess what that equals? Nothing. Goose egg. Jesus plus nothing? Everything. Everything. That's what it means. It's simple math. It's the greatest story that was ever told. In this season of Thanksgiving, in this season of grace, in this season of hardness, let us follow Bach's lead. JJ, Jesus, help us. What a way to start off the morning. STG, to the glory of God alone. In wherever, whenever, and whatever in our lives. And remember, Jesus plus nothing means everything. Jesus can never be taken from you. He can be the eternal light that glows in you for now on into eternity. So my friends, let it glow. Let it glow. Let it glow to the glory of God alone. Amen.